Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to lesson 7 in the Fiqh series. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. And we carry on with the author's words. Wa sunnanuhu ashrata ashya. And its sunnah are 10 things. And this is talking about the Wudhu. We've just completed the Fard acts, the obligatory acts for the ablution. And now we're going on to the Sunnah acts. So 10 are listed here in this text, but inshallah in the next episode I'll mention more that are in the more bigger books. But for the ones that are mentioned in this book, first it starts off with tasmiyah. And at tasmiyah is to say Bismillah, and that is the least to say. But for more rewards, you say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim at the beginning of your wudu. If you were to remember it in the middle, you say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in the middle, or Bismillahi awwalahu wa akhiruhu, as we normally say when we eat food. When we eat food, the only difference is even if we finish the food and we remember it then to say it then is also good, because really what we're doing, the benefit of that is we're seeking protection from shaitan and safety from shaitan with this consumption of food as well. So in wudu is different. We're trying to raise and come out of the state of minor ritual impurity that now puts us in a purified state for praying salah, and for example you could tawaf and read the Quran, touch the Quran, carry the Quran. So it's not the same as seeking protection from shaitan. We're actually removing sins as we do wudu. One wudu to another wudu is an expiation of sins. If sins are forgiven, one salah to another salah, sins are forgiven. So inshallah, may Allah remove our sins from as we go limb to limb. And as I said, the limbs, all the ones that we use in the Fard acts are the ones that mostly were the ones that would be the responsible for doing some kind of sinful act. So at tasmiyah, to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The next, as it comes in the text, is Ghaslul Kaffain Qabla Idkhalihima al-Ina, to wash the hands. And when it's saying the hands, it's talking about just this hand. The Fard one was all the way up to the elbow, and that was after the face. This is right at the beginning. This is after, so we can make intention, the Sunnah intention for wudu. The Fard's intention is when we, as I mentioned, to be parallel. As soon as we start striking the face with water, that's the Fard part. But we have the Sunnah intention of wudu. We say we start with Bismillah, and then we'll wash the hands first, up to the qur, up to the wrist. So they say you should know your qur from your bur. The bur is the ankles, the qur is your wrist. So that is the saying in fiqh, but so yeah, up to your wrist, we wash this. And it's common sense, and alhamdulillah, our deen is so simple and easy that it tells us that things that are logical. Because if you were to do wudu, what the first thing that you'd use your hands to have them pure. So if you were having hands with filth on it or is impure, to now to wash them first would be the most common sensical thing to do, really. So alhamdulillah, we start with the hands first, and the sunnah thing is to do with the hands first. Now, if our hands were impure or had filth on it, and let's say, we're talking about qullatain, we're talking about these massive liters of water, we're talking about a huge one and a small one. If you put in a small one, and nowadays we don't because we use taps, but if you were to put in a small one, that would make the whole thing impure if our hands had impurity on it. So we should always remember that. It would be different for a big one. If you put into a like I said, a 60 by 60 by 60 centimeter storage holding water, that would not become, as soon as you put your hand in, impure, the whole thing. But for a small vessel that we might find back in the lesser developed countries, that they still rely on bucket and water, then we would have spoilt the whole water. So that's to note. So that's why it says قَبْلَ إِدْخَالِهِمَا الْإِنَاءَ. Before we put in water, we should wash our hands. So the way to do it, you use a jug and you pour it over your hands and clean it. So once this is clean, now we can use this for the other parts of our washing. And then number 3 is al-madmada wal-istinshaq. Al-madmada is to rinse the mouth, and istinshaq is to rinse the nose. The minimum is, again, you just put water in your mouth and not turn it around inside, not rinse it. Just do that, take it out. That's obtained a sunnah, a level of sunnah, to actually go around in your mouth and remove the bits everywhere. Using finger, that is more rewarding sunnah, and then that comes out. istinshaq as well. So even the nose, you just put it up to your nose and it touches your nose, and then that's obtaining a sunnah at a level. That's the minimum. But if you want a more rewarding sunnah, you put it in there and you sniff air inside as well. So that's kind of sniffing the water out, and that's cleaning that area out. To do this, and the one way is to do it, you can use a scoop for the mouth 3 times. You do it, and you take it out, rinse it, rinse it, rinse it. The second time, use another 3 scoops, and that's for the nose. So you use 6 scoops in total. If you were to use 3 for both parts, so that you have enough water, you do the first part for your mouth, and that comes out, and then the second part with the same scoop, water for that. So that is now reduced to 3 scoops. In 3 scoops, you've done both parts. That is more rewarding than doing 3 just for the mouth first, then 3 just for the nose first. So you do mouth, nose in one, second time mouth, nose, the third time mouth, nose. The more rewarding sunnah. Moving from number 3 to number 4, mashu jami' ras, to wipe the whole head, the hair. For the fard act, we said just a bit, ba'd the ras, just a little bit, as long as it's in the vicinity where normally your head is. That if the hair is from there, you just do a little bit. That's sufficient. That's obtaining. You've done the fard. But if you want to get greater rewards and you obtain the sunnah, is to do the whole. And the way to do that would be with your thumbs to go over your ear part. So, and your fingers to be clasped together. Once they are wet, you go around all the way to the back, and then if you have hair, you come back all the way. And then the thumbs go along the ear on the top once you're doing this. If you're just bald, you just do it once is sufficient, but there's no need for it to come back. There's not a requirement. But if you had hair, you can bring it back. So mashu jami' ras. The Prophet ﷺ, he would do it on his imamah, so just a part of the imamah and carry on all over the imamah. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 5 is mashu al-udhunayn, ظاهرهما وباطنهما. You wipe the ears, and now this is again bima in jadid as well. So it continues in the text with you wipe the 2 ears with the inner and the outer with bima in jadid, with new water. So every time you haven't just washed it once, your hands, and now using it and doing it all 3 times once, doing it 3 times. You'll do it the inside, and that's going to go around the inside, clean everything, whilst the thumbs, they're going to go over the outside. So your index fingers for the inside of the ear, and then you go around, and then from your thumb you go all over around. And again, every time you've done it the one time, you use new water and wash your hands, and then do it again, and then you wet your hands again for new water, and then use it again. Number 6 is tahleel al-lihya, to do takhleel of the beard. So there's 2 types of beards it mentions, it mentions, and you have a shorter beard like myself, like very light beard, or you have a thick beard. If you have a light beard, it is wajib. You have to make sure the water goes right inside everywhere, and it's wajib to do the lihya. But if you have a thick beard, just to do the outer is wajib, but it's sunnah to go inside, and it's sunnah to make sure all of the beard inside is you've done lihya of it, and to do it from the bottom first. That's just to put your hands through. Number 7, tahleel al-asabi'. It becomes tahleel al-asabi' al-yadayn wa rijlayn. So I've just shortened it to al-asabi'. It's to do again tahleel, to put your fingers through your fingers and toes. So this is off your hands and off your feet. The hands, again, is just more or less making a web, kind of. You go through to each other. As you're doing wudu, you've made it wet and it's gone through to each part inside. Everything's come wet. To do tahleel of it like this and clean it. For the feet, you start with your khinsar. So this is your feet. That's your small. This is a big toe. This is a small. You start from the small to the big on the left side first, then your right side. But it's always from the small to the large, and it's using your left finger, the khinsar. So this is your khinsar. This is your binsar. This is your wusta, sababa, and ibham. The thumb is the ibham. So you start with the khinsar. So khinsar to khinsar, you start with this first and you go through. Some people have feet that they don't have space in between. That's why to make sure water goes in between, and you're using your, to do this is the, to obtain the sunnah. Similarly, then after that you go on to the left side. Again, you have your left, let's just pretend this is the left one finger. You do it again from the smallest to the largest. Once you've done تخليل الأصابع, you do تقديم اليمنى على اليسرى, to proceed, come with the right first before you left, in terms of your limbs. Now there's two limbs that there isn't right or left, that's your face, it's just one. So when you wash your hands, face, you just do it in one go. And similar with the, as we saw with the wiping the hair, the head, you do it all in one go. But for the other limbs, it's right before left to obtain the sunnah. But the arms and the hands are considered one limb, and as well the feet are considered one limb. So it is sunnah to do your right first, your right arm and hand before your left arm and hand, your right foot before your left foot. But if you were to do your left first and then right, would you have done wudu? Would you have obtained wudu? You would have, but would you have got the reward of the sunnah? You wouldn't have. And similarly, you can even wash them together and you'd have done wudu really, but it's not obtaining the sunnah. So right before left. And number 9 is at-tahara thalathan, to purify, perform all these acts 3 times. Do it 3 by 3, except just the wiping of the hair, the head. You just do that once. Everything else 3 times. Sunnah act, farad act, all 3 times. And finally, al-muwala. So for some, not the Shafis, but for some that is a rukun, this is a pillar of their wudu, they must do it. But for us, al-muwala, which means continuation, that one part doesn't dry before the next one. It's not like you wash something and then you go and make a cup of tea and then come back and now you carry your wudu, like your first part would have been dried by then, in normal climate, normal conditions. So you make sure you continue one after the other. So it's a sunnah for us that you continue. If you're one who has problems with holding your wudu, like because of releasing gas or of incontinence, and you need to go to the toilet quite often, then it's first that you have muwala. When you start wudu, you do everything quickly because you need to pray then quickly and before your wudu breaks, which is a normal thing that for that kind of person. So these are the 10, and inshallah we'll be looking at more sunnahs that are mentioned in the bigger books before we get to the next part, which is going to be the istinja. وصلى الله سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم.